Let me know if at least one of these statements sounds familiar to you. Advanced guitar techniques and solos seem extremely hard to master, if not impossible. Practicing guitar often feels like you're stuck in a rut, constantly repeating the same old boring licks and exercises without seeing any real progress. Maybe playing virtuosic and impressive guitar solos and feeling completely free on the fretboard simply isn't meant for everybody, and only a select few, the top 1% of guitar players, get to feel this amazing creative freedom, limitless speed and happiness when they are playing guitar. If you could see yourself a little bit in at least one of these statements, you just clicked on the perfect video, because this is how I very often felt when I started my guitar journey. But now, 20 years later, I finally reached my goal of becoming a professional guitar player, being able to play pretty much anything I want. And in this very special video, around 20 years in the making, I want to show you the 10 most important tips and exercises I wish I knew when I started out. This honestly would have saved me years and years of guitar practice, so this might be the most valuable tips and exercises I ever shared on this channel. Let's get started. This is exercise number 1 for today. Timing might be the absolute most important foundation when it comes to your guitar playing. Because it doesn't matter how fast you can play, if the notes you play aren't exactly in time, you will pretty much instantly be fired from any band. And if you're not playing correctly in time, pretty much everything that you will play will never sound right. So this first exercise is my favorite concept when it comes to practicing timing and rhythm. And for those octave intervals that you're playing here, you really just want that lower note and the higher note to ring out. The note in between is basically a dead note that you can't hear. And in between, you have those percussive dead notes. And it's really easy to hear if they are in time or not, since it's just such a percussive accent in between the open octaves. And the main twist with this exercise is that you're first playing 16th notes, but then you're switching to 16th note triplets, 16th notes and triplets. So switching between different note values, even to 32nd notes at the end, and working with that open wrist motion makes this an awesome exercise for timing, and the next one also features this approach quite a bit. Alright, as you could maybe hear, this next exercise was all about building speed, especially picking hand speed. Now, as a beginner, when I started with this, I made the mistake of immediately going to full scale patterns. But I wish I would have started with this by introducing some small speed bursts in between 16th notes, just like with the first half of this exercise. Once again, you have some 16th notes followed by a quick burst of 16th note triplets. But the cool additional detail with this exercise is once the second pattern starts, not only does the direction of the lick with the fretting hand turn around, the picking hand direction also turns around. And that feels super weird when you try it for the first time, because we're all very used to leading with a downstroke. That's what makes this such a great exercise for your picking and for your speed and control. Now the next exercise is pretty much the most important one from this video. That's the one that I'm currently working on in my routine as well. Just one important information before I show it to you. If you feel like you're not really sure about what to practice at the moment, so you want to get better and you have 15 to 30 minutes every single day to practice, but you simply don't know what to do to get better, you need a simple, structured step-by-step method. I just released a brand new, really awesome scale workout routine for all my members on Patreon. This one features really awesome slow, medium and fast tempo play-along videos. So at the start of your practice routine, you can simply press play on those videos. It's basically like I'm in the room with you, so it's really fun to practice this way. And of course, as with all my packages and courses on Patreon, you get the guitar profiles, detailed tab PDF sheets, backing tracks, and in case you're a VIP or Platinum member over there, of course you get some input and coaching directly from me, because you can post your progress videos in the secret VIP Facebook group. Over there I'm personally giving you feedback, so if you're serious about your guitar progress, just click the link below, patreon.com/burn. Download the new practice package right away. The student success rate with this one is absolutely crazy so far, so please stop wasting your time, sign up today with the link down below. I'm waiting for you over there, but now let's check out the next awesome exercise. There are multiple really cool benefits again. First of all, you obviously had some string skipping in there. So I'm only playing on the high E string and G string, and I want to avoid any string noise. That's not what I want. But the main benefit of this exercise is actually hand synchronization. So with this one, you will tighten up the connection between your picking hand and fretting hand by moving this pattern all across the neck. So you don't want the listener to hear that you're transitioning between those different positions. And the only way this works is when your hands are perfectly synchronized. And having an exercise like this in your routine will finally help you with establishing this connection once and for all at any given tempo. But if you feel the weird sensation that your fretting hand isn't fast enough to follow your picking strokes, this is what I recommend doing next. Alright, as you could see, this next exercise was pretty much all about the fretting hand. And honestly, this is something I wish I started with right at the beginning. I started this way too late on my guitar journey. This is all about legato and fretting hand technique. And this is the exact exercise I wish I worked on because it includes all of the fretting hand fingers. So you both have to learn to hammer on and pull off with all of your fingers with this exercise, and you also have to switch between the E string and the B string, and there's just one picking stroke at the beginning of each pattern. And as you will really see, this will really train all of your fingers to work independently, and that's something I wish I knew 20 years ago. Just like with this next exercise, check it out. Alright, as you could see and hear, this was all about a scale phrase that kind of sounded advanced and a little bit virtuosic even at a slower tempo, right? And the secret behind this, and the detail I wish I knew all this time ago, is working with odd note groupings when it comes to scale lines. So the cool and very interesting aspect of this scale line is I was not always playing 3 notes per string, I was not always playing 2 notes per string, not even 1 note per string. I was completely mixing these patterns. So I started with 2 notes per string, 1 note per string, 3 notes per string, 1 note, 1 note, 1 note, 2 notes, 3 notes, 1 note again. So over these 2 measures I mixed a lot of note groups while still working with 16th notes. So the pulse is always 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But once again, instead of just playing like a 2 note grouping or a 3 note grouping, I just experimented a lot when I wrote this lick, and I threw together different combinations. And that's not only a great picking exercise because you have to navigate between the strings playing all those different odd groups. Again, it's really awesome and helpful when it comes to synchronizing those hands. But the biggest benefit right here is a creative one. So if you feel like you're always playing, writing and improvising the same licks, working with odd note grouping and familiarizing yourself with the concept for an exercise like this will change your life forever. And the next exercise is equally important. Check it out. So if you know your guitar techniques already, you know that this was all about tapping, and people don't really talk about tapping that much anymore, which makes me kind of sad. The mistake that I made when it comes to learning this technique as a beginner was just learning this. So the super basic patterns everyone is playing, but I wish I could have seen the awesome creative possibilities right away. The way this exercise is written, those tapping accents fall in really interesting places. So it's not just always tapped note, pull off, hammer on, tapped note, pull off, hammer on, and so on. So this sounds much more practical right away and less like an exercise, like with those more basic patterns. So if you feel like you should introduce more techniques to your guitar solos, I would say give tapping another go. Try to put the tapped notes and accents into interesting places, like with this lick, where you don't really expect them rhythmically, and you will love the results, just like with the next advanced technique. Check it out. Alright, once again, if you're familiar with a lot of guitar techniques already, you will have seen that this is all about sweep picking and arpeggios. The mistake that I made when I started out learning this was only playing arpeggios up and down. So it took me a very, very long time to unlock the creative potential when it comes to this technique, because as cool as it is, people listening to your playing will get a little bit bored of that. So I wish I would have started working with cool patterns like this, for example with those diminished shapes that I wrote. Now this is still based on the sweep picking technique, although I have to be a little bit more careful right here and think a little bit about my picking strokes, because this is not just playing an arpeggio down and up and down and up. I'm starting out with up strokes, and I want to make sure to have that sweeping motion right here and not attack every single string individually. So this is about a fluid picking movement like this across the strings. But then I have to turn the picking direction around and actually play a downstroke on the B string. So tricky patterns like this are more challenging, of course, and they can be frustrating when it comes to navigating in between the strings. But I really wish I explored the sweep picking technique creatively like this from the beginning. It would have helped out a lot with my guitar solos and with my phrasing, instead of spamming them up and down all the time. But let's talk about something completely different with the next exercise. Check it out. Alright, so this was also about a picking technique, but not sweep picking, economy picking. So most players are very familiar with the concept of alternate picking, just picking down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and so on. But with some scale phrases like the one I just played for you, it can often really help out to familiarize yourself with a different picking approach. So for this workout, I wasn't playing down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and so on. I was playing down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. And the reason why learning this picking approach and alternate picking as well is because sometimes, especially when you're playing very fast, you have some guitar licks that are quite difficult when it comes to string transitions, and it can really help you out when you become a master with both of those picking styles, because most players are either alternate picking experts or economy picking experts. But by mastering both of these picking styles and combining them creatively, you will have the most amount of freedom possible when it comes to especially faster guitar licks. So in case you haven't really worked on economy picking yet, make sure to try out this exercise. And remember that I have a full course on economy picking on my Patreon page, patreon.com/burned. It's a 30-day course program that takes you from the basics like this to more advanced and super creative sounding licks. But we got a little bit sidetracked with the lead guitar stuff. Let's talk about rhythm again with this very important topic. Check it out. Alright, so as you could see, this was about a very important topic when it comes to rock and metal guitar. This is all about downstrokes. A lot of guitar players in this style of music really want more downstroke speed, because downstrokes sound a little bit more aggressive compared to alternate picking everything. And I personally kind of regret not working more on this in my practice routines as a teenager, because I was very obsessed with lead guitar and with playing scale phrases, arpeggios, all of that. So this is something I definitely had to work on quite a bit to get it up to speed as a lead guitar player. And what helped me a lot is working with patterns that have a lot of accents in them. So as you could hear, I was playing perfect fourths in this riff that serve as great accents, and muted, down-picked, palm-muted notes. So I'm alternating between big open accents and muted notes. That's the first challenge. And the next challenge is, of course, we are also switching between different note values again. We're starting out with 16th notes, but then we're moving to triplet. So for these we want to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And in the end, to really work on the speed when it comes to those downstrokes, there are even some 30-second notes. The reason for that is it's the same principle like with one of the other speed exercises I showed you. It really helps when you have some very, very fast speed bursts in the exercises. So just some quick bursts of super fast picking that helps with pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. So those don't have to sound perfect right away. Building speed just doesn't work by playing 1 BPM faster every day. You really have to challenge yourself with something that you can't play yet. Which brings me to the most important topic I wish I knew when I started out with all of this. And this little chapter is called Practice Routines Actually Work. Most players don't really have a plan when it comes to their practice sessions. They just pick up a guitar, play some some random riffs and licks and call it a day. But then they get frustrated because they don't see any real progress. So a practice routine is something that will really change your life when you actually know what to do every single day and you start to see results day by day. And here's the big plot twist at the end. All of these exercises and topics we talked about in this video combined actually make a perfect daily practice routine that consists out of everything that I wish I worked on when I started out with all of that. So for this week's awesome download package on Patreon, I combined all of these exercises into one super effective daily workout routine. The awesome thing with this one is that it covers absolutely everything that you should practice every single day. As you could see with the exercises I showed you, they are about fretting hand technique, picking hand technique, hand synchronization, interesting techniques like sweep picking and tapping. Absolutely everything that you should cover in your daily technique workout routine is featured in this brand new awesome download package on Patreon. So this is what you've been looking for all this time. You can get it with the link down below, patreon.com/Bernd. No more thinking about what to practice, no more getting frustrated because you don't see any weekly or even daily results. So once again, the choice is yours. If you're serious about this and you finally want to see some real results, get started with this right now. Don't do it tomorrow or next week because we both know it's gonna be never. Download it now with the link down below, get started, see some results, and finally be happy with your guitar playing. I'm waiting for you on Patreon. Have an awesome day. Greetings from Vienna and bye bye.